Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Large-scale artillery attacks were carried out against Russian military points on the Donetsk front. These important Russian military points in the region were caught by the artillery fire of the Ukrainian army. Explosions occurred one after another in the region. It was even reported that many Russian military equipment and important points were seriously damaged. With such accurate moves, Russia's military resources are being reduced day by day. At the same time, it is known that this front is of critical importance for both countries. Intensity of the conflicts on the front is increasing day by day. Russian soldiers became unsure of what to do. This situation causes serious losses on the Moscow side. In fact, according to breaking news, 50 Russian mercenaries were neutralized in Luhansk. As a result of the operation initiated by the Ukrainian armed forces, the Russian soldiers, who are getting more and more difficult, have to deal with greater losses with each passing day. Moreover, it is estimated that many of them are newly mobilized soldiers. Every day Moscow suffers major defeats due to the lack of training and inadequate equipment of these soldiers. Although strategic mistakes increase Russia's losses, the steps taken towards this are generally insufficient. It is seen that Moscow's mobilization decision resulted in a very bad result for itself due to these Russian soldiers, who had a very difficult time in achieving success. Because since the realization of this move, the defeats and losses have been increasing. Due to the increase in such defeats, the lack of motivation in the Russian army is beginning to be experienced more. It is stated that these soldiers, who are demoralized, usually want to surrender or try to escape. In the long run, if these events continue like this, the war will continue in favor of Ukraine and the tension on the Moscow side will increase. Moreover, the Ukrainian army continues its accurate moves on the fronts. Since the beginning of the war, the Ukrainian rocket and artillery units have been hitting many important Russian military targets thanks to hundreds of shooting missions. This time, it was reported that the Russian forces hit two important points where their weapons and military equipment were concentrated. Explosion sounds echoed from Russian military equipment and ammunition in the region. At the same time, it was reported that Ukrainian forces destroyed one artillery system, one armored combat vehicle and 3 tankers of Russian troops. In addition, nearly 320 soldiers of Russia were neutralized during the day. If it continues like this in the long run, Moscow, which has lost more than 300 soldiers every day, may not have enough military resources. This situation may force Russia to turn to a new wave of mobilization for the war. However, if this situation occurs, the military losses on the Russian side will increase. Moreover, it will be much more difficult to compensate. At the same time, it is seen that the Russian soldiers had a very difficult time on the Zaporizhia front. This time, Berdyansk Russian military airspace in this region was hit. Allegedly, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out a missile attack on this military point. Moreover, it is known that this region, which connects the east and south facades, is very important for both sides. High importance of the region also causes conflicts to become more intense. Because if dominance is achieved in the region, the land corridor of the Russian soldiers between the two fronts will also be divided into two. This situation will suspend both the logistics flow and communication of the Russian soldiers on the fronts. For all these reasons, operations on the front are increasing day by day. If full control can be achieved in the region, both the largest nuclear power plant in Europe will be controlled and the transitions between the fronts will become much easier. This will give the country a great advantage. In fact, it seems possible for the Russian Navy to become a target, as this region, located on the southeast front, is bordered by the Sea of Azov. Operations for this can happen at any time. In fact, the fact that this hit Russian military airbase is located in a region bordering the Sea of Azov makes one wonder whether the Russian Navy or the Black Sea Fleet of Russia will be targeted. In the event that the Ukrainian army, which has achieved serious success in the air and on the ground, starts operations at sea, Russia will activate its ships loaded with Kalibr cruise missiles. However, if these ships are damaged, Moscow's cost will increase and it will not have much of a chance. Because these missiles are also known to be quite expensive. Fact that each of them is worth millions of dollars will increase the anxiety on the Moscow side. If Russia, which is currently experiencing serious economic difficulties, faces more losses, it will be much more difficult to recover. Despite this, Russian forces continue to try their luck on some fronts. Russia is still trying to develop its positions on many fronts, such as the Lyman and Avdiivka fronts. Moreover, it continues its attempts to attack the positions of the Ukrainian army. In fact, it was reported that strong explosions occurred in this Avdiivka front in the past days and the intensity of the operations between the two armies increased. As it is known, the Lyman front, as it is known, caused the country to become confused with the loss of the Russian troops as a result of a great defeat in the past months. Moreover, many Russian officials and commanders were dismissed. Operations on these fronts still continue. In addition, Russian President Putin continues his surprising statements that attract reactions. Putin had recently admitted that the attacks on Ukrainian territory were aimed at infrastructures, and attributed the reason for these attacks to revenge. However, since he was the one who started the war, these statements were interesting. This time, the Russian leader stated that the situation of negotiating with Kiev will be difficult and may take a long time. He also stated that this war, which he described as a special military operation, continues as it should and there is no problem. These statements of the Russian leader drew both attention and reaction. On the other hand, he made important statements about the negotiations and the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine from Turkey. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan declared that his country resolutely supports the territorial integrity of Ukraine. At the same time, he stated that this war between the two countries caused serious damage to the whole world in political, economic, and many other areas. He also announced that a meeting would be held with Ukrainian leader Zelensky and Russian leader Putin on December 11 to strengthen the grain agreement, which was realized with the United Nations and Turkey months ago. As it is known, Turkey has a mediator feature as it has various economic and diplomatic relations with both countries. Providing military equipment such as armored combat vehicles and unmanned aerial vehicles to Ukraine, Turkey also has economic relations with Russia. Good understanding with this country, which is important for Russia and Ukraine, also plays a critical role in the war. However, Russia's support to Syria, where Turkey has been carrying out various operations in recent days, and the deployment of its military equipment may put the relations between the two countries at risk. It does not seem logical for Russia, which is thought not to be involved in the developments between Turkey and Syria, to deploy its military equipment on Syrian territory. Because already a lot of military equipment is needed by Russian soldiers on the territory of Ukraine. Many Russian soldiers are also struggling in the regions. Moreover, moves towards Russian territory are increasing. All this shows that it is quite unreasonable for Russia to distribute its military equipment to other countries. It is known that Moscow has made strategic mistakes since the beginning of the war and suffered serious losses because of these mistakes. It is of great importance that such strategic mistakes are not made so that these losses do not continue to increase. Every step taken in the long run will determine the fate of countries regarding the war. Since there is no longer any margin for error for both countries, it is imperative that any decision to be made should be made with the right strategies. In the following process, whichever party provides an error-free progress will be able to achieve success more easily. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.